And Emma Uren, the captain of Great Britain, strides away to extend the lead.
Paris was so different to Tokyo. It all started years ago. So I used to be a swimmer, and that was kind of my main sport. I was going to get a time. I'd done it in like swim camps, knew I was going to get it. I got a form of tonsillitis, and that wiped me out completely. So I went to the doctors, got glandular fever, took several months out of the pool, and then when I started to get better, tried to get back into it. And just didn't love it anymore, so I turned to my dad and was like, look, I don't want to swim anymore. And he knew that was a big thing for me. I remember we were in the car and he was like, okay, well, you're not going to do nothing. Because I'm like bilingual and dyslexic, I was always a lot slower with the academic side of stuff. So sports was always my release. So we went through like all the sports I'd done, like, do you know what, let's give rugby a go, and then let's do a bit of running on the side. And I fell in love with it. I had no idea how to play rugby at the start of it, but we took the opportunities and I just threw my energy into it and my fitness into it.
Right now though, it's Emma Uren.
Emma Uren. The amount of times we've probably seen Emma Uren do that on a sevens field.
From there, got pulled into the under-20s, was in 20s 3 years, captained the first win against France away, went to the Saris and then got pulled into sevens. After the first year, I then ended up signing a 3-year contract with England. So we had just qualified for Tokyo. I always thought maybe I'd go to the Olympics in swimming, and when that didn't work out, I was like, actually I have a chance to go to the Olympics in a sport that's completely different. The year building into Tokyo, I ruptured my hamstring completely. It was the quarterfinals against New Zealand in Cape Town. Came home, scanned it, came back as a grade 2, and we were like, okay, something's not right. We're going to send you to a surgeon, see what it is. He was like, you have an option to operate, and you'll 100% come back, but you only probably have a month or 2 months to like get back to fighting fit. Or you can go non-op route, which should get you back quicker. However, there's a higher risk of you being stuck at 80% strength for the rest of your life. The way that I want to play my game, the demands of fitness, running, I need to have full strength in my hamstring. So I went in knocked the next morning. So that was a pretty dark time because it's one of the biggest operations you could have. I remember seeing the scar for the first time and like crying. But then lockdown came around, and I think being stuck at 50% of running for that long done me so good, and my hamstring is really, really good now. I'm actually so grateful for that time. Getting selected for Tokyo, I kind of didn't feel like it was real. Even though it was a COVID Olympics, there was no one in the stands. I don't think I really realised how big it was going to be. But we came fourth at that Olympics, and mentally I think that was the biggest hit. I haven't even watched back some of the games from Tokyo because I just couldn't deal with it.
Athletes only ever exist in the moment. They either solve the problem or they don't. It's rare that you see her have a bad performance. I don't see why she can't be one of the world's best players.
When we came back as GB last season, again we qualified for Paris. Leading into the Olympics this year, I was like, okay, sweet, I've actually got a good run, I'm feeling really good. We went into Madrid, the last tournament before Paris, and I get injured again. Typical. I was like, okay, when am I ever going to get a free run?
The initial reaction is you just feel sorry for them.
It was pretty bad.
Tore my superior fibres of my deltoid.
She had obviously 2 choices. One was to either get surgery.
He said that it was going to be a push to make it back for the Olympics.
Or take the risk of no surgery and try and smash out rehab and see where we get to.
The only time you would ever really push something, I think, is for the Olympics.
She had to take that choice.
But he said it is doable if you do it right.
But once you go for it, you've got to go with that one.
And I was like, okay, well, we're going for it.
I am in project rehab, so I'm stuck with this.
She didn't know the outcome of that because it doesn't just work as linear as that.
Surgeon did want it to take a little bit longer. He said 2 to 3 months, but we don't have that. We're on a tight timescale.
When the team then came out, I was selected, but I also selected as captain, which was a great honour with that. Who I am as a captain is I lead on field. Mentally not being able to do that, / having an injury was really hard.
Yeah, just off to go to training. My toes flared up, which is weird. Not sure why or how.
She's very aware of energy of the group and energy of people around her, and she wants to impact that.
We ended up putting like all the really high risk stuff towards the end and actually going like thinking what's the essential things that we need to do. And I came back and probably in a better space than I think anyone ever expected me to be in.
She took the risk and it paid off. she made it to the Olympics.
Hey guys, just at pre-camp training, done a gym pump.
I never thought I'd be there and leading the girls out in Paris.
I think she pretty much played every game. I don't know what you determine as successful rehab, but I would say the aim of the game is to be on the pitch.
GB have lost ground, but they've held on to the ball, and now Uren with a burst of pace around the outside, and Emma Uren, the captain of Great Britain, strides away to extend the lead.
Paris was so different to Tokyo. Paris was just on a bigger scale. You had one big food hall, which I think you pretty much get lost in. You do run into people. Serena Williams was there. Andy Murray was around quite a lot in the GB block, so we spoke to him. He was really lovely, but it's normalised because they're kind of doing the job that you're doing. The biggest lesson I learned from Paris was it's more than just a sport. No matter where I was in the stadium, there was someone in the stand with a GB flag. And every time I waved, I would always get a cheer back. Being able to still play in front of a record crowd, 66,000, was still a major history point in women's rugby. I'm so thankful for I had that day. At the time, I was not thankful. Yes, I want to go to another Olympics just to get the medal, but that's sport for you. It all relies on one weekend or one day, and it doesn't define you exactly as a player.